Now my mum's asked me to do a job at her house, boxing the electric meter and fuse box. Looking at some pictures, it looks a little bit complicated to do just off a sketch, so I think I'm going to need to do it on site. But what I can see is I need some timber that's 20 centimetres deep. So I'm going to use some MDF, and while I'm at the workshop I can get it ripped down on the table saw. I think if I can get these ripped down here, then I can go over to her house with just the track saw. So I'm here and it all looks pretty simple in theory. I need a box around this bit and a box around this bit with doors on. The trouble is, nothing is square. The ceiling slopes, the wall slope, this slopes. So I think all I'm going to do is cut a bit of wood, try and make it fit, cut another bit of wood, and keep working my way through. So the first bit I'm going to do is a bit that needs to go in here, so I can get it cut to length, and I need a cutout for the cables. So let's get that done. So I've got myself a bit of scrap wood I can put on this table and set myself up a little temporary work area. And I've got the track saw with the rail square, and I can get this cut out, or mostly cut out, and then I think I'm going to have to come back with a handsaw and finish off the cut. This is definitely not the kind of work I do all the time, and I'm finding it amazingly tricky to work out. So that's why I'm just taking it time, a step at a time. So with this first bit done, I can see that's going to work. I can now work out what the top and the bottom bits of this box are going to need to be and get them cut. And I'm just going to take it one bit at a time, and hopefully I won't mess this up. So I have two bits cut for the top and the bottom, but there's more cables at the top, so the top bit needs ripping down a bit to take into consideration that. Okay, I've got 3 bits cut and I think I know what I'm doing. So now I can get these joined together, and I'm just going to use some glue and screws. The first job is to drill some pilot holes, get some glue applied, and then screw it together. I now need a bit of wood for the 4th side, so I can work out how long that needs to be, get it cut on the track saw, and it's going to need to be a thin bit again to take into consideration the cables. Right, let's see how this goes in. Oh, that's going to work perfectly. So now I need to extend it out, bit along here, up here and along here, so 3 more bits. The top bit's going to need to be a thin bit, so back outside, cut some bits and get them screwed on. Right, it's all together, I've tested it and it fits. Now I need some doors. Now I thought I had some 18mm MDF left over in the shed here, but it's 12mm. But what I did find was some melamine panels from a wardrobe build. So I'm just going to use those. So I can measure out the openings for the doors and get these cut out with the track saw. So I did try and be organised before I came, and I bought some concealed hinges, some overlay ones for the doors. The trouble is, when I looked at the ceiling and it was sloping, if I'd done the overlay hinges, when I opened the doors, they would scrape on the ceilings and probably the walls. So I've changed my plan and I'm doing inset doors. But it means I don't have the correct hinges, so they're coming tomorrow. So all I can do now is fill the screw holes, leave them to dry, sand it down, and wait for the hinges. So the correct inset hinges have now turned up, so I can get the positions for those marked out onto the doors and to the carcasses. Now, to learn how to do this properly, like how I learned to do most things properly, I watched Peter Millard's video from 10 Minute Workshop about hinges, so I'll put a link to that down below. To drill the holes, I've got a 35mm Forstner bit, which I'm just doing freehand, so I'm just going to go down a little bit and keep checking until I get the correct depth. To get the other holes drilled, I've got one of these hinge spring-loaded drill bits that's self-centering, and I can get those drilled out. Then the holes for the corresponding plate, I'm just going to get marked out and I'm going to get them drilled. I'm not actually going to attach the hinges yet. I'm going to wait until I've got it all painted. Now my plan has changed from overlay to insert doors. The doors are just going to be able to close in on themselves, so I need some little stoppers. So I'm going to get a bit of scrap of MDF, cut a couple of little blocks down and get them glued and clamped into place. The glue's dried on those blocks, and now I've got some acrylic primer undercoat that I can get brushed on. The primer's dry, so now for some quick drying satin wood. I've had to come inside because it's pretty wet, cold and foggy out there, but now I can get the brackets for the hinges all installed. I'm not going to actually attach the doors until I've got this on the wall, but I need a way of putting it on the wall. So what I'm going to use are some of these little L-shaped brackets. So I'm just going to get them screwed onto the frame. Now I can get this held up into place, mark out where those screw holes go. So because there's loads of cables here, I have gone around with the stud detector, even though this one doesn't seem to be working properly. No, good tools to have. I will put a link to this down below. Now I can get the drill the holes, get the plugs in and get this put up. Okay, just the doors now. So I can't fully close the doors at the moment because I won't be able to open them, but what I've got is some white porcelain knobs. So now I can just drill a couple of holes and get those installed. Okay, that's it all done. I actually found this amazingly difficult to do. It's a weird shape, but it's also just a job that's a bit out of my comfort zone. But I think it looks so much smarter now. And I mainly just used scraps. I had all the wood already, I had the knobs already, just had to buy the hinges. So thank you for watching. Thanks to my patrons, and please subscribe for more videos.